to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living a life truly on your own terms. Special shout out to my Patreon family. I appreciate, love you so much for the financial and moral and emotional support that you offer me on that platform. Thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this, to this channel, who has liked the videos that we share. And I always look forward to your comments, beloveds. I wanted to talk a little bit today about the various, the common spells, can I put it like that, that are being used. When we're told that the enemy of our soul is here to kill, steal, and destroy, it's not an exaggeration, beloveds. They're here to either sacrifice you for your energy and your gifts and your powers, to steal. If they can't sacrifice you, then they'll steal them from you. And if they can't steal them from you, then they'll destroy any chance of you using them yourself. And so how do we know? What does this look like? How can we feel it? Well, I think if you've clicked onto this video and you really feel a resonance, then you may need to look closely, maybe into your own life. Maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your friend who you've noticed acting a bit weird. But what happens is, beloveds, we have to recognize we're spiritual beings having a physical experience. And so it's our spiritual beings that are literally writing the experiences that our, physical body is having by what we focus on. It's like we're literally projecting the next set of events in our lives with our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions today, and of course compounded with everything that we've gone through. And then we already come into this world. As I said, beloveds, you have to see that we're spiritual beings having a physical experience. Otherwise, I've already lost you, and this may not be even the channel or the message for you. But once you recognize that we're spiritual beings, that means that we didn't come in here by accident. We have a blueprint of our lives, of the things we wanted to achieve, the mission we came on. And there are some things, as I've said before, that are set in stone. Like nothing can change those certain events. And then there's some which, it's because there's multiple timelines, beloveds. Like the way you have, when someone asks you a question and you can either say yes or you can say no, those become two possibilities, two potentials, or what they call two lifelines. So if you go the yes way, this is how it will go. But even the no, if you were to imagine, you can see how the no timeline goes. And so that's like, it becomes an energy on its own. And so there's many lifelines. And the thing is, like, with these things that are set in stone, if you are destined for greatness, that greatness will happen. But what the enemies of our soul try to do is to mess us up so much, so that by the time that greatness is unfolding, we're too handicapped spiritually to really fully enjoy it, or we're too traumatized to fully, feel the experience and bask in that amazingness. So kill, steal, and destroy. Literally, it's that basic. And a lot of the spell work, and I'm talking about Africa here, but I know this goes on globally. A lot of the spell work that is done by, especially people in power. You see, a lot of the people in power, that is not their natural destiny. Their natural destiny, very few, natural destiny was to be president or to be a judge or to be a CEO or to be extremely, the millionaire in their family. So most of them, that was not theirs. That was not their designated path, but they may be initiated into a secret society, and then that can become something that opens up in their timeline. But they may not have the energy, because it was not their path. They may not have the energy to rise up to that level, because it takes energy to rise up to any kind of position of leadership. And so then they will be told by the occult leaders, or, whatever society they're part of, that if they sacrifice a child, a mother, a father, they can hit that superstardom status. And it has a lot to do with, using that energy force. That's why it has to be someone related to you, using their energy force to double yours up and to kind of propel you. So it's like you're using the strength of two humans to become a judge, something like that, beloveds. It goes much deeper, but I just want to give you an overview of how these things happen. So sacrifice is real. And the thing is, you cannot sacrifice or chosen ones through the occult. It just can't happen like that. Their defenses are too strong. And so what will happen is those instances is that a lot of these powerful families, every time the child is being born, they will go to their fetish priest, their astrologer, their juju man, their juju woman, whatever. And they will try and learn everything about why is that child coming into our families. This is what happens, even among the Agikoyo Nation, beloveds, among the highly powerful families. Let me just put it like that. So they'll go and they'll ask, well, why is this child coming? Is it, what are they coming to do? Are they coming to create? Are they coming to destroy? Because even within those bloodlines, even spiritually, some spiritual beings are not happy with what is happening physically with their bloodlines. And so they will come to mash up their own family. And so, especially if they've gone in the astray, they will come and try and clean up that bloodline. So the corrupt ones of that bloodline may not want the savior of that bloodline to come in, because that will dislodge them from power. I really hope I'm making sense, beloveds. This is how the message is flowing from spirit. And so, kill, steal, destroy. So they'll go and they'll check and they'll be like, okay, this one's coming. They're going to be a mighty prophet. They're going to be a seer, because you already are. Just because you're an infant doesn't mean that those powers aren't fully loaded in you. You're not going to be anything. You are that. So they'll see this one is this one is coming with that Christ consciousness. This one is coming from a very high level of God consciousness, etc., etc. And they'll kind of analyze how you're coming in, what you're coming in with. And so they'll try and bind you either to that society, that clan, or someone in your family. So that's why I talked about in a previous episode of how a lot of parents, mothers and fathers, the fathers, either, we shouldn't excuse, but the mothers are the most nefarious, I swear. They will bind themselves. Many mothers have spiritually wed their sons. Many fathers have spiritually wed their daughters. And they'll bind them so that those gifts remain, so that they continuously use those gifts. Because, that thing of two become one is real, beloveds. And a lot of this spiritual marriage, it does include having sex with your children. It's just that sick, beloveds. And so they will bind themselves. And then once they bind themselves, it's like they have access, because you've become one. As long as you are in that union and you have no idea what is going on, they will be able to exploit your gifts and use them. And so they'll always be having these success stories. And you'll always be in struggle, barely able to feed yourself, barely able to clothe yourself. And that yet everyone can see that you're a highly talented one, that you've got so many skills, but you can't put it together. And this is what happens with a lot of people who you see who have all the gifts in the world, but they're just not able to get anywhere. It's because someone else is siphoning off that energy. And so there's a lot of rituals that happen on children in Africa, beloveds, that bind them to these parents and then have them being used. And sometimes their gifts are so large that they're not even just used by the parents, but they're used by the entire occult and society. So they'll take their child to the temple of their society and have the child dedicated to that society so that everybody, so this one can use their singing gifts, and this one can use their presidential gifts, and this one can use their gifts of the billionaire status. And the way to know that this is happening to you is like you lack clarity, you lack enthusiasm. You try and do something and it always gets like, you'll only get so far. Like you wake up in the morning and you'll have a set of, a full on day. You're going to go here, you're going to meet this person, you're going to go pick up this, you're going to go pick up that. And then all of a sudden, after breakfast, you feel so tired to the point where you literally need to go back to sleep. You know what's happening there, beloveds? Someone has literally taken your energy and is rolling with it to the point where you can't. Another thing is being scatterbrained, where your clarity, you have such clarity of thought, and then all of a sudden you can't remember what you were doing, who you were. It's because someone is pulling on your spirit, and your spirit literally that is trying to operate this vessel has to go and help, the rest of your spirit to fight off this attack. Because we don't take this lying down on the spiritual realm. And that's why you'll notice, like, actually, let's take a short break, beloveds. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki, talking today about something that is so critical. I pray, even if this just helps one person break free, then it will have been worth it. Delving deeper into the spiritual matters. You see, beloveds, we live in a spiritual world. We live in an occult world. Many things are not just happening like that. If you're not living your life, then you're living someone else's. If you're not, creating your own reality, then someone is creating your reality or manipulating your reality for you. So the enemy of our souls, everything that happens physically has a spiritual root. And the enemy of our souls comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And many of the enemies of our souls are in our families, beloveds. Our spouses are in our circle, are in our friend circle, beloveds. And especially if you're a chosen one, and you've come in with a really compassionate and empathetic heart, and you're here for a reason, you're the one who really needs to watch those who are around you, and make sure, because most of them have been here to steal and to keep you from your destiny. So I talked about the killing, but the stealing now comes in, as I was talking about before, where someone will literally either steal your life force. They'll rent it like daily. So you'll always, they'll come. It's like someone coming and renting every morning they come for your iPad, and you can't do any work online until they return it in the evening. That's the kind of vibe, beloved. So some of the symptoms that your energy is being stolen or siphoned off is that thing where I said, where you'll have so much energy, and then all of a sudden you'll feel lazy. You'll feel like you don't need to move. You're not sick, but you just feel like unenthusiastic, and you've just flipped. So you flip-flop from being super high energy and super low energy, super enthusiastic and super unenthusiastic, and it just doesn't make sense. It's hard for you to keep your energy balanced. That's because there's a tug of war. Because anyone who's stealing your energy is not taking it just like that. I mean, for the majority, when you don't know this is happening, then you'll feel these things, but you won't know where it's coming from. But behind the scenes, your spirit is not allowing this to just happen. Your spiritual team is not allowing this to happen. But your consent really disables your defenses. But those are stories for other days. So another thing is being scatterbrained, being unable to really gather yourself, gather your thoughts. You always feel like, you can't focus, beloveds, that your focus and attention is so hard to come by. That's another sign that someone is stealing your energy. And there's many other signs, beloveds. Sometimes certain illnesses will show you that someone is stealing your energy. Or especially let's just say, if you're barren, for example, but you don't come from a barren family or a barren bloodline, some people will even steal your future children spiritually, beloveds. So let's say you were supposed to have triplets. Those triplets will go, and a random uncle or aunt will have them. I mean, these are things that are really happening, beloveds. And they steal your energy to enable them to get more money, to get more fame, to get more likes. That's why they're stealing your energy, because their energy alone cannot help them meet their own objectives. And sometimes their storyline is not your storyline. So you may have abundance and wealth in your narrative. That's what you've come in with. but your mother doesn't. So she will bind you and then steal that luck from you and live this luxurious life. And that will happen for as long as you're with her. But the minute you start to step away, you'll see that all of a sudden her finances and her businesses start to collapse, etc., etc. Or the minute you even want to be free and you start questioning, why am I like this? What's happening? It shows that something spiritual is going on. So there's many ways that people will steal your energy. Sometimes alcoholism and things like that, beloveds, is another way that people steal energy. So they'll give you like the curse of alcoholism, and through that they can now use your energy because that spirit controls you. That spirit. That's why they call them spirits, beloveds. Mental illness, as I mentioned, a lot of people in mental homes are not mental. They are literally using your soul, like renting out your soul and using it. And so there's no spirit to conduct this vessel. And there's many, many other ways, beloveds. And maybe I can get into each one separately. But the final thing I wanted to talk about is the destruction. Because they will, when someone is using your energy, they can't afford to have you start to use your energy. And that is literally the basic the fundamental selfish reason that many of our loved ones, family, friends, etc., spouses, it's always the nearest and dearest. It's rarely Babylon, right? We're fighting Babylon, but when you really come down to it, you realize, wow, the enemy is not even that enemy I need to be worried about. It's the one that's right here, that's been trying to mash up my life all my life. And so you'll find that, so if they're using your energy, or if they're harnessing your energy, then you will find that whenever every business that you want to go into will somehow end, will somehow collapse. You'll go into a job and you'll be doing so well that your team will love you. And then you'll make like a silly mistake and get fired. And you'll wonder, like, it will be like from one day to the next, like for 6 months, you're working perfectly, everything's going beautifully. And then one day you just epically mess up, or you go into work and you behave out of character that gets you fired. These are all spiritual manipulations, beloveds. They destroy your dreams. That's why they always say, shh, keep it quiet, move in silence. Because the minute they hear what you're going to do, they start canceling it out, because they can't have you be famous. Because then what happens to their fame? It goes. They can't have you be rich. Because then what happens to their wealth? It goes. They can't have you in a happy relationship. Maybe that was not their karma. And so they're using you to be in this relationship. I'm telling you, beloveds, it goes deep. Anything you can phantom is literally being done, because we live in a spiritually corrupted world. And the reason, this is one thing. So they destroy your dreams by, like, when you share them, even just thoughts against them, they'll discourage you. And a lot of things is someone who has been stealing your energy, usually it's parents, siblings, or spouses, who has been stealing your energy all your life, has done everything to cultivate a low self-esteem in you, to make you unconfident about yourself, to make you doubt and hate and belittle yourself, so that you can never fathom or imagine that you could be any great thing. And the lower you see yourself, the less motivated you will be to create a reality of greatness, because that reality comes from here. It's not coming from out here. So one of the major spells that they use is to make you like them. The veil, beloveds. And I feel I need to do a totally separate show on this. The same people who are mashing you up, making sure you have a weak, like they enable your bad habits. They make sure that you have a weak, self-esteem, that you're always doubting yourself. They almost make you feel like you're schizophrenic. Second guess, they try and make you, oh, you're so forgetful. Oh, you're so this. Oh, you're so that. So they keep you feeling low about yourself so you can't even tap into your own power so they can continue to use it. But they will actually go to the extent of casting spells to make you in that emotionally tied to them, where never in a million years would you think the enemy of your soul is your mother or your father or your brother or your sister. Like, never. And there's all these labels for them: narcissist, this, that. They're just evil, wicked, not, narcissist is not even evil, wicked, diabolical people. And so you'll always feel like they cast a spell where you almost panic. Like if anything was to happen to them, you'd feel like it would happen to you. You know what I mean? And they make, whenever you want to walk away, they make you feel this guiltiness and doubt, self-doubt. Like, no, they can't be that bad. No, it can't be this kind of situation. There's no way. Yes, there is a way. It probably is exactly what you're seeing it as. But that's how so they're able to do this because they've got a veil over your eyes to begin with, where you don't see them clearly, so you would never imagine. And on a deep level, there's a lot of these people who deep down they're wicked. But they've worked so much magic, beloveds, that they force that love. And that's why when you see them for who they really are, you feel nothing walking away. Anyway, let me know if you'd like me to go deeper into this. I really pray that this will bless someone's life. This will just start to open some things. Remember, everything I give you is just a key, beloveds, because the real imprisonment, the real slavery is mental. And those mental chains are just broken with ideas that are outside of, and language and conversations that are outside of the things we've always talked about and been talked to about. Tuko pamoja.